Hello everyone, and thank you for attending the Ball-Chatham School District's virtual job fair event. I'd like to introduce you to Shelby. She's going to tell you a little bit about their school and job openings they have and how you can apply for those openings. So I'll pass it off to you, Shelby.
Right. Thanks everybody for coming. I really appreciate it. So for those of you that are local, you may know a little bit about Ball-Chatham, but for those of you that aren't necessarily in the Springfield or Chatham area, we are a district of about 4,000 kiddos, and we're just about 4 miles south of Springfield. So many of you guys may be kind of wondering right now what we're looking for and what our mission is as far as getting back to school with the coronavirus and the COVID-19 emergencies and craziness that's been going on. So what I would like to show you guys is just a quick little overview of who we are as Ball-Chatham. And this is stuff you guys can find on the website. So our school district, like I said, we've got a lot of students in our district everywhere. You know, we do pre-K program at Ball Elementary, all the way up through senior high school. Unfortunately, some of those different athletics and things like that we know now will not be taking place due to the coronavirus. So unfortunately, there's not going to be a lot on our calendar, but one of the things that I always show folks when they come to our orientations and things like that is just our educational philosophy. Again, for those of you who are in the local area, you may have seen all of this, but just talking about our vision, our mission, our beliefs, this is something that's very strategic for us. And we really believe in all of these different things that show up on our website. And in talking about that each student is a problem solver, critical thinker, and innovator. And that's even our little kids. You know, you would be surprised how many kindergartens can find a solution to the world's problems by just a simple crayon and a piece of paper. But we do also put high expectations on ourselves and our kids. Instruction and learning is flexibility and differentiated, and that's definitely something we've seen through the shutdown that it necessarily, you know, hopefully will not be affecting us too terribly, but that affected us really at the end of last school year. Community and family engagement, collaborative teamwork, all of these things are just really significant to us and our values. And this is something that I focus on at our orientation sessions. So if any of you guys end up being hired for us, this is something that we'll talk about a little bit more. So one of the other things that we talk about as well are our character education traits. And for anybody that's been to Chatham or driven up maybe by our high school, you'll see some banners that have different words on those. And those words are our character education traits: respect, responsibility, citizenship, caring, all of those different pieces. And again, we really try to push this out at the very beginning with our new employees. The reason that we do that is because this is a message that proceeds then to go to our K-12 students, and it's really something that we incorporate with them, with their learning, with their career as students with us. So those are things that if you would like to take a look at, learn a little bit more, certainly let me know if you have any questions, but I do like to show that at the very beginning. So for those of you who are interested in employment with us, you can actually get that on our website at departments, and then you can go down to human resources. Once we get into there, you're going to scroll all the way down on this left or this right side over here. So there are two different places. If you know you want to go ahead and start an application, you are welcome to do that by just clicking this application option, and then you're going to be taken to this welcome screen here. Unless you're an employee of the district, you would start with this external applicants piece, log in on that, and then you would just go ahead and start filling in all of your information. Each page will build as you go through those pieces. So please make sure if you guys start an application, make sure you're using an email address that you are definitely going to be checking regularly, because one of the other things that I do is if we have positions that come open and you've been in a pool of different jobs, we want to make sure that we connect with you in that level. If there are any custodial positions or nursing positions, really what we're pushing right now is looking for sub-custodians, sub-teachers, and sub-nurses, because we know that that need is really going to be there moving into the fall. So if any of you that are participating today are interested, I welcome you to fill out that application. If you have any questions, you can always reach out, but I definitely want you to take a look at that as well. If you're not sure what you would like to look at just yet, you can actually just view the different categories over here on all jobs. And this actually just loads out all of our different positions. And if you open this show and hide option, you have an option to go in here and check out the job description, the different parts of the position. So that's definitely something you may want to look into as well. But this is the listing of all of our current vacancies as of today. One of the things that we will do is we tend to update our substitute positions. And so these positions here, these 10 openings, these are ongoing. So when you see the number of vacancies that we have open in the district, that does include our substitute positions. I really urge people, as far as going, not knowing maybe what they want to do at the very beginning, take a look at these sub positions. This really gives you an opportunity as an employee to come in, feel things out a little bit, see if you like the staff, see if you like the buildings or the job itself. And then if this is something that interests you as far as becoming an employee later, you're absolutely welcome to apply for those jobs. And you don't have to update very much on the application. You just have to click that box showing that you would like to get hired for that position. So a couple of other things that I'll kind of walk through here just on the very baseline is if you are hired for us, we have a new hire onboarding site. And this is something that I built during the COVID-19 emergency. We were trying to figure out what would be the best way to get in touch with people. And so this is one of our options that we have is if you are hired, this is my first communication to you guys, is to open this site up and kind of show you a little bit about our district. Again, we layer and layer a lot of things. And if you've been to our website, you'll notice that there are just links that you can click and they're just constantly ongoing. We really like to give you guys comprehensive information at the very beginning, so there are no surprises, so that we have a lot of things connecting. So my site will connect to our website connects to our intranet, and those things all tend to tie together. So we are very excited about that because we feel like that puts us out there with making sure that not just you can find information as an employee, but you can also just kind of find that information on your own as a job seeker. So we do have some pre-employment requirements that if you are looking to, wonder what's going on with the pre-employment, what would I need to do if I got hired? Here's your stuff. Here is the background check. You would have to get that done. You would have to have a physical with TB test that is required by Illinois state law. And then we also have a board hire. So where a board of education would be hiring you guys. It's a little different than other employers because we are a public entity. So we are required to have those things go toward the public, which is that board hire date. And then we have the orientation. So you would have to attend that orientation as well. But certainly this is something that I would send out to you guys later on if you were to be hired in our district. So I will close that out a little bit. Are there any questions? I'm pretty much good with my screen. Are there any questions that I can answer? Anybody have any questions, concerns, anything I can help with?
Yeah, if you do have any questions, you can either unmute yourself or type them into the chat. There's one question that I had. So for your custodian hours, what are the normal hours that would be worked during the week?
So right now, we actually have all of our custodians on day shift, which is anywhere from about 6 or 6:30 in the morning until about 2 or 2:30 in the afternoon. It really just depends on the building that people are at. We do try to structure those. They're 8 hours. They get a paid lunch on the days, on the evenings. But normally during the summer, our custodians do come up and work during the day shift because there isn't really a lot there to do in the evenings. Now, during the school year, typically those hours range anywhere from either 3 to 11 or 2:30 to 10:30. So it's kind of in that timeline there. You won't see any third shift positions. We don't actually have any of those right now. I don't believe they've had those in quite some time. But it is first and second that are primarily our two main options there. Now, if that wouldn't work for someone and they say, I've got kids and I need to make sure I get things structured, there would be an option to kind of adjust those hours a little bit. We have had some people that kind of do a stair-step schedule. So we had someone, I think, working like 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. So as long as they were meeting those hours, there is an overlap in those shifts, which is an option. That is just something that would need to be discussed with the supervisor and then our administration to make sure we're not violating any labor laws or any contracts or anything like that.
Okay, and then what are the types of background checks that are performed?
So we actually do our background checks through the Regional Office of Education, and they are down in Springfield, and they do an FBI record check, which is also then part of the Illinois State Police record check, and then that is also, there is a National Sex Offender Registration check. So all three of those are required by state law, which is Illinois School Code. We are required to have those sent to us, and then we review those here in HR. One of the stars that I always put on this is even with an expungement or a sealing of records, school districts are unique in that they can see those records. So I do caution people with, if you've had a conviction, as long as you're forthcoming about that conviction on your application and that is consistent with what we would see on the record, short of any concern that it is what's called a barring offense by the state law, which means there are just certain charges that school districts cannot employ people, usually it's not an issue. We've had folks that, they've disclosed that they had a DUI or something and they completed all of their service, but it still shows up on their record. And if that's the case, we do tend to look at those things in detail to make sure that that matches what we're seeing on the application as well.
And then what are some of the benefits that are offered?
So I can actually pull that up. I will share, I forgot to do that earlier. So let me share my screen with you guys so you have that information here. So when we look at the different benefits, we offer a full range of health, dental, vision, all of those different pieces. I want to make sure I've got your information here. I'll go down to human resources, and I believe, I'm hoping that that's still up there, that you guys can actually see our employee benefits. We should have that up there. If not, I will definitely pull it, but it doesn't look like it's there right now. So we do have Full Health, which is through our, it's the Health Alliance. It's obviously a very big company. So if you guys are familiar with that, that's who that would be through. Here we go. And then we also offer dental, which is through Guardian, and that is also who our vision provider is. So if you guys can see this, I'm going to open this up just a little bit bigger here. We have 4 different plan types that we offer. There are 2 PPO plans. We have 1 HMO plan and 1 HSA. Now, right now, there is a contribution. If you see on this right side over here, there's a contribution of $625 a month from the district toward the employee-only premium. So just to give a round number, if the premium is $615, $615, and we have a contribution of $625, you wouldn't pay anything for that. But if it was, say, $700, then you're going to pay the difference of that $625 and that $700. So it does take care of a pretty significant amount of just the employee only. When you see those costs change is during the tiers where you have dependents added to those benefits. So if you have kiddos added, if you've got a spouse that's added, that's where those prices obviously are going to change. But that $625 still remains in effect for the employees. Dental, vision, short-term disability, basic life, these things down here, there is no employer contribution. The only one that we actually have is the policy for life insurance. This is just a basic policy here. It is a sliding scale decrease by age. So if you're on like that 60 to 65 cusp, that amount actually will go down a little bit. But we do pay for that, whether you do any other benefits. And one of the things that we like about our benefit system is, some employers have it to where you have to take the medical to take the dental, vision, et cetera. We don't have it set up that way. So if you have a health insurance plan through a spouse, if you have something through the marketplace that you really, really like, you don't have to take our medical insurance. If you are younger and you're still on your parents' plan up through age 26, you can just choose from the dental, the vision, the short-term disability, any voluntary life. You're welcome to choose from any of those. So that is a nice little structure that we have, that some places actually make you take one or the other, but we really like to structure ours that way because it does help us stand out a little bit. And then we also offer retirement. So we have 2 different options here for retirement, and that's depending on the classification. We have the Illinois Municipal Retirement Fund, and that is for our non-certified. So that means you do not hold a teaching license in the state of Illinois, and you're automatically enrolled in this if you work 600 hours or more per school year. And that is basically everybody who works about 3.5 hours a day for pretty much the entire, 180, 175 days, something of that nature. And then our teachers are automatically put into the teachers retirement system of Illinois. So we do have those two retirements. And then we also offer a 403B option, which is an additional piece that you can do through like an annuity, if you've got something like that, and you want to roll those different pieces. That just builds that retirement portfolio. And there's a lot of information out there on that as well. So we also offer paid time off, and this is actually when you get this kicked in is at that 600-hour mark for IMRF for our non-certified employees. Those are the different breakdowns for the time off and how many years of service than our certified staff. That's how all of those pieces are broken down. But this is something that's actually out on that website, and if you saw where I clicked, it's under Human Resources, and then it will say Employee Benefits over here. So if you would like to print that out, please feel free. It's out there as a public document. We will update this in about October because that is when our open enrollment occurs. So if there are any changes on this full document, then we would update that with any contribution amount changes, any benefit changes, any levels that, life insurance policies change, things like that. But we do like giving this to everyone just to kind of show you what that breakdown is. And here's what that cost breaks down to. So when you look at these different levels, right now our least expensive policy for that PPO is that $700. So you would be paying, if you're working year round, you'd be looking at this $37.50 per pay. And if you're working just through the school year, it would be that $45 per pay. So we are hopeful that those will change, but that is all just determined by our benefit company, and then they come back with a lot of logistic information on claims data and things like that, that we really are trying to focus on getting that down. So we're really pushing a lot of things with, people taking care of themselves and wellness and all of those good things.
And then how long does your hiring process typically take, or like how quickly are you looking to fill these positions?
We are really pushing, if we can get some folks in here as far as sub-custodians, onboarding for regular custodians. Our custodians work 12 months, so we are really pushing to have those folks in. And it usually just depends on what we're looking at for the background check. That's typically the longest part of the process. I hold an orientation typically during every month, because that's when our board meetings actually take place, is once per month at the end of the month. So I will hold an orientation at the end of every month in coordination with that board meeting to make sure I've got everybody taken care of. This summer, the way that that's been structured is we've done just about every other week, we've done an orientation with our big groups of people who are supposed to be starting in the fall. So that process itself typically takes a couple of weeks, maybe 2 to 3, depending on when we get all the information from the hiring managers. The background check is always a question mark. They usually tell us from the time you're printed, it takes about 5 to 10 business days. So you would be looking at anywhere from 1 to 2 weeks on that one. But I tend to get them a little sooner. It just kind of depends on whether there are any concerns that we have to review, quality of prints, those different things that we really can't control. And that's usually the lengthiest part of the process. Now, we do require a physical and TB test that is done as well, but those can be done at places like the Sangamon County Health Department, at the health center down in Springfield on Cook Street. You can go to walk-in clinics. And as long as there's somebody licensed to practice medicine, you don't necessarily have to wait and be put on a waiting list to go to your own healthcare provider. You can go anywhere that you like to do all those things.
Okay, great. So that's all the questions that we had. If there are any other last minute questions, please feel free to type them into the chat. Did you have anything else you wanted to add, Shelby?
No, I just, like I said, I would really encourage everybody, take a look at those job postings that we have out there. That's we really are hoping that we can get some, firm lines on what our return for school looks like. Obviously, we do have to listen to, IDPH and the Illinois State Board of Education, but we absolutely are looking for that help. And if you have any questions at all of my contact information is out there. If you think of something we didn't touch on today or would like some more information, all you have to do is let me know, and I'm happy to get in touch with you.
All right, great. So I do want to thank everyone for coming today and attending this virtual job fair. In the chat, I have sent, I sent a link to the Ball-Chatham School District virtual job fair booth on Illinois WorkNet, and that's where Shelby has posted a lot of helpful information on there. So you can go and visit that. We also will have a recording of this webinar posted there later today. and please fill out the virtual job fair survey that you'll be receiving in the next couple of days. Thank you again, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Ariel. Thanks, everybody.